Where's John? What the fuck? That was just had a message up. I'm just trying to get in. Hey, Joy. We're nearly there. We're just waiting on 2 more guys, and then we're ready to go. It just looks like it's loading. All right, cool. So you're just trying to get in there. Yeah. Awesome. Is Mark in or? He's probably just got in a random one. Yeah. Well, I just nipped into the lobby to find him, and I couldn't find him. So, but maybe he's got the same issue I have. He can't get into the gallery. Yeah. Yeah. No worries. Right. Well, have you had somebody soon? What? Yeah, exactly. No worries. Oh, right. I'll see you shortly. Right. Right. Cool. Bloody hell, this is taking a little bit longer than I thought, but just hang fire. We're just waiting on AW and Mark, and then we can commence. I'm not going to drag it out too long and everything, but I'm just going to do a brief rundown of why I did each piece and stuff. Essentially, nothing too over the top. Terrell? Yeah? Are you nearly mute now? Yeah, you nearly got mute, man. No, it's alright, I don't mind muting. No, it's just because when I'm just chatting about a couple of pieces and stuff, because this is going to get recorded for a stream or whatever, to splice into content and stuff, so essentially, that's all. Come on, John, where are you? Bleeding out. Your phone. What's going on here? Right, cool. Okay. Let's start this. So, I don't really know how to start this, so I'm just going to waffle on. So, follow me and please ask some questions and get involved with it. Because I like to talk. So, yeah, let's go with it. What should I say? Look at that. Oh, right. Cool. Awesome. Right, cool. So, essentially, if we just head to the blurb down here. Right, so essentially, just head down there, guys. Cool. So, I just want to thank you for attending. I didn't really have much expectation or know what this could be because I'm still trying to work out what all this Metaverse stuff is and that, and it's quite intriguing, to be honest. So, first things first, I am a musician. That is what I do, essentially, and I used to paint back in the day when I was at college, and that was like, what, 10 years ago or something now. And I kind of fell out of the game with painting for quite a long while until lockdown 1 happened, because I found myself with a lot of time on my hands. So I picked up my craft knife and whatnot and started making some stencils again just to keep myself occupied. It all started with a painting of Joe Exotic from Tiger King for a bit of a laugh, and then as they say, the rest is history. Things just snowballed, and I'm really happy with what I've managed to achieve since then, and I've got some big plans for the future. So I'm just trying to work out where should we start? Let's have a look. So I think what have we got here? Oh, Brendan. Okay. How are you, man? You alright? Pretty good. Good stuff, my friend. Good stuff. We're just having a couple of issues at the minute. JW can't seem to load into the same gallery as us. He says he's in it, but he's on his own. So I don't know what's going on with that one, but he says he's in. So who knows?
If you get him to close out and come back in,
yeah.
Sometimes like if you have like a low blip in your internet connection when you're loading in, that puts you into, and that's not how it works with everyone.
Okay. Right, I've just texted him now. Cool. Right. Okay. So sweet. Where should I start? This is a bit of a question mark. Right. Cool. Let's head over it. Let's go over it. So this is the latest piece that I've done of Liam and Noel Gallagher. So it's always the ongoing joke, being from Manchester, England, that because you're from Manchester, you love Oasis, and that is so true. I adore that band. They're one of the bands that really opened my eyes to music when I was a little nipper, and I still find myself going to them all the time. So
hey,
I decided to. That's awesome. But it's one of them, being from Manchester. It's like the Smiths, Stone Roses, Joy Division, New Order, Oasis. You must love them, or you're not a Mancunian. So it's quite fun. But I do adore these two guys. In my eyes, they were the last true rock and roll band. Like, they had no boundaries, and they did what they said they were going to do, and they backed it up. But with this piece, it was just mainly working with colour palettes, and that's what I wanted to express with it. But the piece we're looking at now with a blue background is the first idea for this one, because along with Liam and Noel, I'm also a huge Manchester City fan. Football plays a big part in England, and I didn't go for the typical Manchester City blue with this, which would have been really cool, but I thought the red in the face there with the beige really brings it out and pops to a really nice level. But if you zoom in there, if you just walk right up to it, you can see on this piece, especially on canvas grain and stuff, the piece came out super clean. And yeah, I'm really, really proud of this one. Prints of this piece have just gone live on my website on Friday, I'm about to do the press release for it tomorrow and stuff and whatnot. So if you just want to head to the right and just see the accompanying one while we're there, it is exactly the same stencils, but I just decided to flip the background and the red for this because I really was undecided which colour scheme I wanted to go with, so I thought, why not just do one of each? So that was essentially that one. So that's where I'm actually hard with it. Right, let's head to the middle since we're here. This piece is it's personal, man. I want to go deep. Like, so with me when it comes to art, like I just tend to paint things. It's mainly people who've inspired me in one way or another. As I touched on before, I'm a big Manchester City fan. And being a big Manchester City fan, that means Manchester United are our arch nemesis, they're our rivals. But there is one guy on that team that I have all the time in the world for, and that is Mr. Marcus Rashford. So what happened this year, it was the Euro 2020 football competition. And it was England's first major final for years and years. And we went up against Italy in it. And I don't know what I call this piece, to be fair, but what happened was Marcus has done a hell of a lot of work to feed underprivileged children in the Greater Manchester area and further afield to make sure they just get regular meals and be looked after and all that. So the guy is an absolute saint, and he's done a lot off the pitch for the communities and whatnot. And what happened were in the football game, it went to penalties at the end, and it was 3 black players, Bukayo Saka, Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford. And those 3 players all missed a penalty in that. And the reason I've done this piece is because what's going on in the world, like racism is not cool. It is not cool. And so-called England football fans turned their back on those 3 boys and gave them some of the most horrific abuse I've ever seen. And that really rifled me. I was absolutely livid with it. So that was the Sunday, the football game. The day after, out of protest, I wanted to get a message across. So with my art, as I said, I paint people who inspire me. It's mainly musicians, but in this case, I'm not afraid to get my message across if I feel I have to. So this piece is essentially a big FU to the people that sunk that low. And I put the crown on Marcus there because he is the king of Manchester. What he has done off that football pitch is truly remarkable. He's changed so many families' lives, and you're going to have a dig at him to miss the penalty, and you're going to have a dig at him for the colour of his skin. That is horrendous. Like, you can't get lower than that, and it's awful. So the guy is a Mancunian legend, and he's continuing to do so much good work. And I felt like I had to get a point across with this piece, and it actually got picked up by a couple of newspapers. We got some coverage and whatnot. But as I said before, like, sometimes you've got to take matters into your own hands. And I feel with art, if you're an artist, it is your responsibility to get a point across. And I feel if I have to, I will do. So that's essentially the tale behind this one. And this is definitely the deepest piece that I have got in this exhibition. But I feel like there was a place for it in this exhibition.
I just have a little bit of a question for Amy.
Talk to me.
So if they were celebrating on the Freedom Tree beach,
yeah,
again, and they got,
yeah, that was it. So sum it all. Oh, it was mostly slurs reference. It was terrific. It was like, it was one of them. If England would have won that game, like they'd been idolised as gods and everything. As they didn't win that game, people just stooped that low to just pick. It was horrendous, man. I'm still very bitter about this. Like, for me, it stems a lot deeper as well, because the band that I play in with family are from India. The other guitar player is from Ireland. The other guitar player is from Switzerland. And he's from Jamaican descent as well, so we're a very mixed race band, and we're all brothers, look like we are all the same. And the pieces about that some people see differently to that, they're absolute idiots. They're not worth oxygen, man. So I was really upset, and I decided to do this piece. It's not open, and it is a controversial one, but yeah, it was a very deep piece for me to create this.
And there's actually a special thing on Sunday called Equity in the Metaverse. On that, I posted. Be really interested.
Yeah, of course, man. So is that? Yeah, it is. Well, it hosts the contest I feel strong about, like, and it shouldn't be happening, man. It shouldn't be happening anywhere. Like, it should just be one rule. Be cool with you. Be cool with them. That is it. If someone's a dick with you, they're not worth your time. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Before you move on, mate,
yeah.
I just want to say that I really, really like the space. And the sentiment behind you, and I was not people to be like.
It was, I don't know, it's like I've done things before, like where our local like not to feed hungry kids in the area, so I painted him looking smug with Oliver Twist with a bowl there, stood next to us with him. We auctioned that, I think it was £1,500 for the local food bank this time last year, just before Christmas. So
wow.
It's one of them, if something is powerful, like if you turn it into a fundraiser to do even more good, then it's a no-brainer, man. Like, I've still got the original piece of this. It's one of them, if a sensible offer came in for it, I would sell it and I'd donate the money to Marcus's charity. But I felt like I had to do that piece. It needed to be spoken about. It's too easy to ignore things in the world, but I'm not afraid to kick up a fuss if I have to. And as I said, it is your responsibility to do that. So, yeah, that was the story behind that one. I realised I should save that one for last. It's actually quite deep. Everything else is a good. Yeah, I hope everything else isn't really a flop. But yeah, okay, let's move on. We've had a look at that one. So we will now go. Right, what's nothing too in-depth, to be honest. So these two here, if we go to the left, so go to the right pieces. This dude is he's called Dragon. So Dragon plays in two influential Swedish rock and roll bands. He plays in a band called Babies, called the Helicopters, and I've been fans of this band since, I don't know, probably about 10 years. So like all the way growing up, like I've always had admiration for these guys. And I linked touch with him in the first quarter of last year, and I just said to him, like, dude, I just want to say thank you for the music. Like, you've inspired me a lot and stuff. It's for an opportunity I create some art for you as a gift. And funnily enough, he got back to me and he was like super stoked. So I managed to create a piece of art. Again, I spiced it up and did a different colour palette for both of them. I just inverted them. So I'm there, and it's actually strange. So since I'm this piece of art for him, he has actually become a friend, and I do chat to him fairly regular. So yeah, that's very interesting. Like, the power of creativity really does bring people together. So we ended up doing a print run for his website with this, and I'm just there, just like, okay, so I'm in things for one of my favourite band members out of one of my favourite bands now. So that really opened up another door and just give me another outlet to believe in and to achieve things, essentially. And it's quite similar to the middle piece. So the middle one
is a guy called Massive Lemons, who are doing really well in the UK at the minute. They're just branching out into Europe and stuff, but these guys have had a couple of top 40 placements for their last 2 albums, and nowadays rock and roll doesn't really get put on the UK top 40 chart, so it's a huge achievement for them. The guy I found they pulled together, and yeah, so this one is currently available for pre-order on the Massive Wagon's website. Just a small run of prints for that, but I just thought it was a cool piece to put in. There was no reason really behind it. I just thought it visually looked pretty cool, so that's why I slammed this one in here. We've done those. Okay, let's go. Let's head over to the dolly. Working with colours and finding the ideal colour palette, and that was essentially it. Like, I knew what image I wanted to use when I painted Dolly, and the colours were obvious in a way, and I'm just stoked I managed to achieve it. Especially if you go down, if you look at a jacket, right round the collar and stuff, I was really happy with the amount of detail I managed to get into that, and it sprayed rather clean, to be fair. It should have been quite a tricky one, but everything seemed to go in my favour. And also, it was a big progression, this piece, because it was learning to add more depth into hair, and hair is something I feel I do struggle with as an artist. It's very hard to get right, but it's a learning curve. So this was, I kind of look back on this piece now, it's like, I really like it, but you're very judgmental of your own work, so I'm just like, oh, I look at the hair, it's like, I could do better on that now, but it represents that time period when I was breaking through and finding that next step, where if we go to the one next to it, this guy is responsible for me, essentially, what's the best way to put it? I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't find out about the band Motorhead. I was a confused, lost teenager around 14 years old, and for some reason, the Overkill album came into my life, and a lot of questions got answered. And the main question were, being the outsider kid that was into rock and roll, it just essentially taught me, it's like, it's okay to be different. And if anyone thinks any different of that, give them the middle finger. And I still continue to do that this day. So to paint Lemmy, he is my ultimate hero. If I could have a beer with anyone in this world, it would have been him. And he's no longer with us. But I did have an encounter just before he passed away, and he was literally a very poorly man at that moment in time. But the fact that he offered to sign a CD, I will forever cherish. And just comparing the piece to the Dolly Parton one we've seen, I was on about hair, and hair is a very difficult subject to get across, and I feel with this piece I really managed to achieve what I set out to do. I'm really proud of this one, the hair especially, and I just think by having the cigarette ember, the only bit of colour in there just really pops it and brings it out. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to Lemmy for doing what he did and inspiring me to follow my own path in life, and more importantly, pick up a bass guitar. I wouldn't be stepping on a stage if it wasn't for that man. So yeah, that one's a favourite. And then over here you've got Joe Strummer, the legendary frontman from The Clash. In my eyes, Joe is the punk rock poet. He brought people together, like especially like one of my favourite things were in the late 70s in London. Joe was actually born in Turkey. His dad was stationed out there in the army. So I think he grew up in Mexico for quite a while. I think Spanish could have been his first language, like growing up, but they moved to London when he was about 10 years old. So he was always thought of as an outsider, even though he had British parents. as years went by, he said one of the most beautiful moments in his life was when he seen the Rastas showing the punks out of roll joints, because everybody was coming together and everybody was one. And that's what punk rock's about. Like, it's about everybody uniting and sharing the love for that one thing. And Strummer has, as well as Lemmy, has opened my eyes to a lot of things. And the guy is such an underrated lyricist, as well as Lemmy. They're both very similar. They both stood for the same things, and yeah, I would have loved the opportunity to see the clash. And I don't know. I've just noticed I've got a thing for painting people with cigarettes hanging out their mouths. I just think it's pretty cool, I guess. So yeah, that's what. That's it. Okay. So over here, we've got Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols. I'm just going to be straight honest right away. I don't like Sid. I don't like the guy. His attitude is what made him. The guy was an absolute lost cause, and yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go. But there's a story behind this piece. So earlier this year, I just received a random email off a lady asking me to take part in. She wanted me to provide some art to be used in a video package of a new stage show she was doing. And I did a bit of digging on this lady, and it turns out she's called Sarah J. Hawley, and she used to sing with a huge band in the 1990s called Massive Attack. So Massive Attack were absolutely huge. The album Mezzanine that they did kicked down doors in the UK and around the world. Like, you still hear Teardrop played everywhere these days, but Sarah wrote and sang the tune Dissolved Girl, and that was used in The Matrix, like where Keanu Reeves is waking up at that point. So that's really cool. So I did a bit of digging, and I've stayed friendly with her. She's really cool. She gave me a list of people that I could paint, and I chose to do Sid because I already painted Strummer, and I wanted to link in punk legends. And Sid is very much a punk legend, even though I don't agree with some things. But the Sex Pistols were very vibrant, and I thought, okay, I can do Sid. I can make him look trashy with the black, the greys, and the creams. Then put a bit of overspray in the orange there to give that. But also, you can do a really creative, vibrant background there. So there was a lot of layering in there with the checkerboard. That was hours of masking tape to achieve that. And then you put your polka dots. They were a nightmare to cut out. So this one was just about going wild, essentially, and just creating something loud and vibrant. So we're going to move over, but we're going to go to the end. We're going to save the middle piece for last, because this is another person. So we're going to go over here to the Johnny Rotten piece. So Johnny Rotten is the singer in the Sex Pistols, where Sid was the bass guitar player. Same things again. It had to be loud, it had to be vibrant, like Johnny's personality. The guy has never been afraid to say something for any repercussions or anything. And he even said things back in the day in the 70s and early 80s about Jimmy Savile being a paedophile on live British TV. And the BBC kicked off like mad about it a bit, and Johnny Rotten was absolutely right. It came to light after 30 years later, and yeah, so that was it. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind about anything, and the guy's he's a good dude, man. He's a great lyricist. And then after the Sex Pistols as well, piece of art itself, it had to be loud, it had to fit the punk vibe, it had to be vibrant. But I thought, I've already got Sid, I want to do it very similar. I'm going to go to the checkerboards again, but I just want to change up a couple of the tones. And I think out of all the pieces that I have painted, this could be the most pleasing to look at in my eyes. It's just all colour, it's loud, it's bold, it's everything. So I'm really stoked on this one. But we're going to wrap it up shortly. There's one more piece I've got to talk this painting of Vivienne Westwood, who is one of the most influential fashion designers in the world. There is a link for this. So Vivienne Westwood was married to Malcolm McLaren, and he was the Sex Pistols manager. So it all ties in there. But the reason I painted this piece, it goes back years and years. So I'm from a town 15 miles outside of Manchester in England. It is a town in the hills, not a lot goes on. But I happen to be from the same town as Vivienne Westwood, which is really cool. And I've grown up knowing this, and there's been no sense of acknowledgement that she's from our town. We got offered her personal collection of items that she's created from her career to display in the town, and for some reason the council decided against hosting it. You got to think London and New York have killed for that. Why have you just essentially capped tourism in our town, which it worked wonders for? So I got a bit annoyed about 6 months ago, and I thought, I'm going to do a piece, and I want to try and give her some local acknowledgement that she deserves. So for me, once again, like the last two pieces, it had to be loud. It had to fit the punk rock vibe. It had to be loud. Vivienne is known for tartan. That is her thing. So I needed to incorporate tartan into it. And believe me, 7 hours cutting that tartan background out by hand was an absolute nightmare. It was not fun. But overall, it took me about 30 hours to cut and paint this piece. And I put it online, and the response was absolutely incredible. It kind of broke the local community pages and stuff on Facebook and Instagram. It got a fantastic response, but it's all spiraled into something else. In our little town of Glossop, there's no street art. They claim the town is a very creative place. So I called them out at a meeting. I just brought a point up. I was like, why is there no murals? Why is there no street art? And I was like, look, I'd love to acknowledge Vivienne if we can do a mural somewhere. So it's looking extremely likely that on the main high street in town, next year I am going to get to paint this piece again, but a lot bigger. You're probably talking about 10 foot, be 7 foot. It's going to be really huge. So it's just all about giving her some local recognition that she really does deserve, to be fair. So yeah, that's that one. Actually, if anyone's got any questions about anything, I would love to answer them.
That was really good. Thanks for sharing.
Oh no, my pleasure. Just thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do this. It's something that I didn't know what to expect. When a metaverse was mentioned to me, but I thought it's really intriguing, and I think it's something that I should take part in because it could lead to some really cool things.
Thank you for this, Debbie. Awesome. We have some more Sex Pistols for Steve Jones, mate.
What's up, Jerome?
Can we have some more Sex Pistols in the future? A Steve Jones would you not be thanking, maybe?
Dude, I'm going to do Jonesy and Cookie. We're going to get done. I've already done the other two, and I thought I may as well do a full set. So it will happen, definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's I think eventually I want to do just all my favourite punk rock heroes, essentially. So I'll do the other two Pistols. It only makes sense. I've done them. I want to do all the Ramones as well. I have done them before, and Johnny Ramone's wife, Linda, has the original paintings of those in a house in Hollywood, which is really bizarre how that happened, but it has. So I'd like to do the Ramones again, so I feel they were just important. Iggy Pop, Steve Bators, I could go on and on, but that's something I would like to work to and just do a punk icons exhibition at some point in the future. I think that'd be awesome.
Hey, Deggy, have you considered the musical potential in here?
I have, a little bit. I thought whilst I've got all the art that I've created, I thought it'd be cool to have some music videos from my band on some of the pieces, and I did have a go at trying to get it to work, but I couldn't quite get it to work. So it's something in the future I would love to combine the two, because as I said, this is Deggy. It it shows what I do with a spray can, but incorporating everything together is something that would be absolutely priceless. It shows both ends of what I do off the creative spectrum.
If you're interested, I can connect you. He's a pretty classical composer. His name's Chase Chandler, and he's experimenting with doing musical performances in here. So he sets up an instrument by laptop, and he gets a bunch of laptops going, and he plays different instruments through his laptops. So each avatar you walk onto has an audio coming through.
That's really cool, man. It's like this. The possibilities are like kind of endless. Like from what I've gathered in a way, like
open sea.
Yeah, man. Like this, like the sculpture side of things and stuff. Like I've never done a sculpture, but it's like it's something I would like to try at some point. So like 3D scanning that. I know that's something that Matthew stood next to me does. That'd be really cool to incorporate that into there. Like so. It'd probably be horrendous if I did a sculpture, but I'd have a go. But like incorporate paintings and say some horrendous sculpture in the middle, and then like some music videos from my band and stuff and whatnot. That'd be really cool to just tie everything in and make it come full circle. Like, but I felt with it being the Biennale and JW gave me the confidence to go for this. I just thought I'm just going to get some of my work on the walls. Like, I've probably done easily about 100 pieces over the last 18 months or so. But I was like, as JW said, it was like, yeah, you need to get some artwork for this. And I was like, how am I going to do that? And it became easy logic. I was like, if I've done a print run of something, I've obviously got to be proud of that piece. So I was like, right, well, there you go, there's my artwork. So that was it, essentially. But as you can see here, a lot of these pieces have just gone live on my website. Every piece in here, you can purchase a A2 print off my website. I've got them all in stock at the minute. If anyone wanted bigger, I could sort it. I don't know a price at the minute, but I could definitely sort that. It's only a phone call. But that's it. It's like every piece in here as well has been created in 2021. It's essentially what I've been up to this year. My main focus for the year was getting more detail into portraits, essentially. So, if I head to, I think I did Strummer first. That was the first painting I did this year out of this crop. And then I think Lemmy, which is next to him, I think Lemmy was the last one that I did. That was the most recent. I think that one was done about a month ago. Joe Strummer was probably done in January. You can see how detail has come along, but that's using, I think that they were only around 5 layers or something per piece for the stencil, but the Vivian Westwood one that was stood in front of here, that was around 15 or 16 layers to be fair. So you've got, essentially, I think there's 3 or 4 layers in the hair itself, and you've got 2 in the face, and you've got your black detail in the face, 3 in the neck. So it was all mental, but that's what I wanted to get the vibrance of those pieces there. But sometimes a less is more scenario works. Sometimes you've just got to go full out to achieve it. But that's the end of the day. If I get some self-fulfillment out of what I do, that's amazing. But if other people like it, then that's job done. So that's where I'm at. Hi, mate.
Hello, mate. I hope you can hear me okay.
I can hear you fine.
Trying to great. Just managed to get in. I wasn't able to get in on the. I didn't have my VR headset. I've been trying to log in, find it.
Right. Okay.
Just really proud of you for getting yourself up and at it and doing your first kind of tour. I think your work is so exciting and it's so accessible in terms of just the energy and who would want to own some of your work. I know that the passion that you've got behind as an artist yourself in terms of being in bands and I just love your stuff. That I I think it's so great. It's so great that you made a step out into new technology to get yourself out there too. So big up, mate.
Well, cheers, man. That's so nice to hear. Kind words, Ross, and thank you, John. It's one of them. It's just about challenging yourself and getting out of your comfort zone. And I found that with the music industry. The music industry is a weird one. It's so one-sided. Like, I'm so used to being knocked down for opportunities and stuff and whatnot, and I feel like painting is a decent outlet for me to just create something by myself and zone out and just get away from everything in the world. Whereas a band, you're part of a creative force. Like, in our situation, there's 5 creative forces coming into one, but all these is just me on my own. So it's a good outlet to have alongside that. So that's, it does me good, man. It's good for the soul as well, for sure. And as I said, if people enjoy my work, that is job done for me. Whether it's painting people that have inspired me, or if it's painting a piece that has got a political message that is going to hit home somewhere, like, you've got to make the most of both worlds and don't be afraid to speak up for what you believe in along the way as well. Has anybody else got any questions about anything? Or
So, Gregory, a question for me.
Yeah, man.
Your influences, everybody talks about
Yeah.
but I text a thread of not only Mr. Martle's one, Roy Lichtenstein.
Okay. Well, honestly, mate, like, I've just got a couple of influences there, and it's really bizarre. So, my main influence when it comes to all this stuff it's how I feel in the moment. That is it. Like, as far as artists go, I don't really have a huge, like, what's the word? I don't really have a huge knowledge of artists, but Shepard Fairey, who runs Obey, is my favourite artist. He does inspire me a lot. But we do a similar type of art, and it's one of them. It's like, I don't want to go totally down what he's doing. And you need to develop your own style. It's cool to take influence from stuff like, how many bands have been inspired by the Rolling Stones over the years, man? Like, just look at the Black Rose, for example. They put their own spin on it and they nailed it. So it's cool to take inspiration from some areas but do your own thing with it. Warhol, yeah, absolutely fantastic. I love what he fucking does. It's all about throwing colour in there and getting a result, I find. And I feel like I was afraid of using colour for a long while, and as soon as I got over that, I think, like, my work came on quite a lot straight after that. But going all the way back, skateboarding was my main influence for my art. I used to get sick of seeing my grip tape on the top of my skateboard being blank. I always wanted a picture on it of something. And I think it all started with me making a stencil of Jimi Hendrix about 15 years ago and painting it on the skateboard. And then things kind of, like, got a bit further. I had my best friend, Matt, who lives in Copenhagen now. I grew up with him. He used to paint walls a lot, so I used to go and help him. They were filling in and stuff, and then I did a couple of my own pieces. This was when I was in college and stuff. So it was kind of that, it was staying creative that way. Like, whilst you're in college, like, it's a weird point where you're getting forced to get your first job, but you kind of don't want it. So I used to tie-dye t-shirts and then paint things on them and then sell them at college to get me by. And that worked pretty well for like 6 months. And then when I got my first job, this kind of got put aside for a while, and it was only until early last year when I thought, you know what, I used to really enjoy that, let's have a go. And honestly, if you'd said to me 2 years ago that I'd start painting again, I'd make some friends of people who I idolise in bands, which is really weird, and I'd be hosting an art exhibition in the Metaverse. It's really bizarre, to be fair. I think the main thing is with anything that you do, everyone's got this end goal. Forget the end goal. It doesn't matter. It's about the ride on the way. And music taught me that. It's about the twice through France. I think I get to Spain in time for a gig and getting 3 speeding tickets on the way in 45 minutes. It's the tales you learn on the way that are the precious moments. You have that end goal. If you get it, amazing. But the tales are the priceless ones.
Enjoy the process.
Exactly. Enjoy the process. Don't rush it. Don't skimp out on things. Just make sure to savor every moment. As much as a pain in the ass something might be, you'll look back on it in a couple of months' time and be like, I learned something from that. It's all about learning, sharing the knowledge, and being inspired to do things. And if you can inspire others, then you're absolutely winning.
I love that. That's really cool. Sage advice.
Agreed.
I don't know. I just try and look at it from a manner where if everyone can enjoy it, you've done it, man. So yeah.
Have you crossed paths with Banksy at all? From like your background,
I've not, but as I mentioned before, the vicious piece here I painted for a lady who used to sing for Massive Attack. So Massive Attack are from Bristol, and Banksy is also from Bristol, and they have strong ties that there's something mixed with them. I don't know what the mix is or anything, but I do know people as well. Yeah, like there is some like there was some things going around online years ago that like a couple of his like paintings turned up in cities where Massive Attack had played and stuff like not long after or before and stuff. So there's all that rumours. But I do know a guy whose best friend knows Banksy on a personal level. Yeah, so I do know that. But I've never crossed paths. But yeah,
maybe you can get a group show going on with him and he can stay anonymous.
If anyone's seen the film Exit Through the Gift Shop, you'll know how cool of a guy he is. If you've not seen that film, it's really worth a watch.
I've seen it.
There's a cool curveball in there, and it's just really witty. It's fantastic. It's worth a watch.
Diggy, because I missed so much because of the tech issues here. You've got some outdoor stuff, some stuff on on walls. Am I saying stuff that you've already talked about?
Briefly, I was saying the Vivian Westwood painting here is looking very, very likely that I will be doing a mural in the town that we're both from. So next year, I'd say early next year, let's get the bad weather out of the way. I'm hoping around April time, if funding can be locked down and stuff, I can get working on it. I've already been given a wall. I've got the blessing of the business that owns it, and it's premium in the on the high street as well. So it's a good video.
I think it might even be Station Street or something like that. If I'm not giving too much away, so it's a prime spot.
It's just on the main high street, man. Like prime spot, like just near one of the big junctions. So that'd be awesome. But that's looking really likely. But it's one of them. Like going down that route is something that does appeal to me a lot. Like doing your pieces on a huge scale is something I've really got a bug for in the last half of last year. Because I was mainly painting on A2. To be fair, that was like a standard go-to size. A lot of the pieces you do see in here are painted on A2, but I've blown them up to fill the walls out a little bit. But Vivian wasn't. She was painted on, what size was that? I think it was 40 by 32 inch. So it was like, if you're going to put it on a chimney breast, it is a centerpiece. It's huge. But just going over all the time, more of a challenge. And then when you step back and look at it, that's something there. So it's just a sense of achievement about going bigger with your stuff. It's that buzz, man. It's worth it. When the endorphins are released, it's like, yeah, man, I'm into this. But
totally, and also understand that you haven't actually seen your work with a VR headset on, right?
I haven't.
I'm talking about in the in ArtGate or in a metaverse in a metaverse situation. So your experience of a browser obviously isn't the same that it could be wearing a VR headset. So
Sure, man.
you've got that to look forward to. I know that the guys at ArtGate have been doing so much, as pioneers in this space, and no doubt all of the tech will get easier and more accessible. And I just think your work lends itself so well to that sort of thing as more and more adoption into headsets, and as they get smaller, as they come into glasses. I think you'll it's your work just lends itself so well, and I'm happy for you that you've been a real early adopter.
God bless you. No, just thank you for making me aware to it, John, and just urging me to do it. It's one of them. You need people to make you step outside the comfort zone and progress, not only as an artist but as a human as well. Like, it's all about doing that it's all about the experiences, as I said before, man. It was really cool to be a part of this because there's big things for the metaverse from what I've been seeing, and like the possibilities are endless, and just the opportunity to be involved in something in the early days of it is just a fantastic thing.
We're just getting started.
I know, it literally is. But no, yeah, definitely, I'll be doing another one of these in the future, for sure, and I will be getting a VR headset for it to give it all full potential. What I will be doing in it, I don't know yet, but it's something I'm definitely going to plan on doing for sure.
And in the meantime, people can buy your prints for Christmas. Have you got your website and stuff?
Yeah, man. So on every piece on it, apart from the Marcus Rashford one, because I've not got prints done of that. I think, in all honesty, I might have 2 test prints done somewhere. But every other piece that are on the walls, there is a link there about, and it'll take you directly to where you can purchase it. But every item, there are already A2 prints done up and can be dispatched immediately with worldwide shipping.
Sounds amazing.
So, thank you guys so much for letting me do this.
Thanks, Deggy.
No, it's all good. No, it's my pleasure. No worries. Thank you so much.
We got some serious echoes.
Oh, I went for the echo. Love it. Reminds me of the old school Mission records you're around.
Love it.
Yeah, it's got to be done. So yeah, sick. No, I hope everybody enjoyed this. It's a bit of an insight to what I do and stuff. But next time, I think incorporating some music in there would be awesome. Me and Matty need to have a chat. There's a couple of ideas that are floating around. That could be pretty cool. Just about, this is the base essentially, and I'm really stoked for what I managed to achieve in here. I found everything pretty straightforward to get the art uploaded and on the walls and stuff, and that was really straightforward, I thought. But it's just about adapting on it. Maybe, as I said, bringing some elements of music in there would be cool, and me making a hilariously bad sculpture would be quite interesting, but I'll have a go. I dread to think what it'll be. I dread to think. But I'll have a go. It would be cool. But, yeah, no, just thank you guys for logging on and joining us with it. I do really appreciate it. And if anyone's watching on the Facebook stream, hello. I hope you enjoyed everything. And yeah, no, it was awesome. It was great to do this.
No, nice one, Deggy. And I'm sure the guys, Brendan and Justin, will appreciate the feedback from anyone that you've invited that may have had some challenges getting in. Because I know that you'll get a load of feedback, and I know that they'll appreciate that feedback too. So yeah, all all a good learning curve, and
Yeah, for sure, man.
So,
It is, like, it's one of them, as I said, it's all early days, and everything can just be built on from this, and I think it's already a fantastic foundation where we're already at.
Yeah. One suggestion I would have for you on the next one, Beggy.
Yeah, man.
If you go to our gatebeer.com, and then
Yeah.
at the top there's a section where you can submit an event.
Yeah.
If you do that, then it will show up in your event schedule, and you can share that web page around all over the place.
Awesome.
Well, kind of, if you start getting some buzz going on, then our marketing team will pick it up and start
Amazing.
too.
That'd be really cool. It was one of them with this one. It was like I felt like I had to do something, and like I was laid up at home with COVID last week.
Yeah, COVID right now too.
Yes, it's awesome. But no, I felt like I had to do something, and I thought Sunday evening most people are genuinely going to be at home anyway, and I thought let's just get it for the end of the week and stuff, just to get it done, see what the crack is, and go from there. But when I do something in the future again, I'm going to definitely spend a lot more time on the promotional side of things and stuff. I've been really busy with quite a few things as well recently, so.
No, this is a huge success for your first one.
I think so. I'm very pleased.
Getting the artwork on the wall, testing it out, getting a few friends to come in. This is a perfect start. And then as you do next, you can kind of build on it. You know what to expect. And you can do the next steps.
Awesome. Yeah, no, just thank you for doing this, man. I think it's a really cool thing, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
This is so great. It's so great. We're on two different continents. We both have COVID. We'll just make after this exhibition and post it here.
Yeah, well, my COVID cleared up a couple of days ago, but it was like I was there using the time wisely in isolation. I thought I'm not going to sit around and do anything. I'm going to start advertising this and do some other art things and whatnot.
It's good.
That's it. It's like whilst we can't go out of the house, that's the beauty of it. As you said, it's two different continents. We're both attending an art exhibition, and it's
might as well. Good way to
come. It's really cool. Oh, for sure, man, for sure. But no,
did it knock you on your ass?
No. So what essentially with me, it was the last gig of the year that we did with the band, and COVID decided to get spread around everyone at that gig. But thankfully, like I just had a bit of a cold and stuff, and I felt my asthma was just playing up. It usually does at this time of year. So like for a day or two, I just felt a bit chesty or something. But that's as far as I got with it. But
it wasn't bad for me. I'm just kind of getting on the tail end of it. But it's too bad. Just took some Tylenol and didn't know it's
definitely in it. Just stay positive and a good mindset, and then you can get through it as well.
Yeah.
So good. Oh, good. Right, I think I'm actually going to go and get some dinner. Whilst Jerome was having his dinner in the Metaverse before, it made me really nervous. So